What up, everybody? I am back with another reaction video, and I gotta make a mental note that if a video gets like above 20 minutes, I'm gonna have to make sure I increase the speed just a tiny bit, just so it doesn't carry on for more than getting towards like a 2 hour marker, because you know uh I usually have to pause the video to make sure I give like a certain commentary on a particular topic or point, so I don't want to drag out the video unnecessarily. But this one, now hopefully you guys can hear me. I've been you know one of the viewers, and I want to thank you for bringing it up, mentions about like the volume on my mic seems to be low, so hopefully you guys can hear me all right, because I don't want to, because I often use this mic for other things and I often have to adjust it so it doesn't get too loud, because it often be too loud on other things that I'm working on. So hopefully this is okay. This video I'm pretty sure I reacted to this guy before already, Amir Odom, and he's a black gay. I don't know if he qualifies or label himself as Republican or just conservative. By the way, he has a take on the Bad Bunny halftime show that I've been sitting on for at least 5 or so days. So I wanted to react to it now. So before I continue, please do me a huge favor and like his content. I like to make sure I give a shout out to those that I react to. And definitely follow me on my YouTube channel and my Twitch channel, where I stream video games, react to videos, as well as review content. So without further ado, let's get this all popped up and see what he has to say.
Something to complain about? No. Just because someone says they don't like something doesn't mean they hate it. It doesn't have to be so polarizing in this or that. No. In regards to Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime performance, people are allowed to not necessarily like it, but that doesn't mean they're being a hater or they hate Hispanics or Latinos and they're completely racist. No, it doesn't work like that. Personally, I know for me and a lot of my friends out there, we actually did enjoy how culturally rich the performance was. Like, it felt like you were stepping into his neighborhood, you're stepping into the things that he was going through throughout his life, and we're just experiencing so much. The boxes outside, the food vendors, the nail techs, the sugarcane fields, like so much culture and historical references were there. Going back to the food vendors, he highlighted so many American small businesses. Hello, that is great. There was a full wedding on display celebrating love. There weren't any disgusting outfits and
Look, I don't know about you guys. I get annoyed when I see people at events like this to make a big, everything had to stop for somebody's proposal or something. Like, I went to a Usher concert before, and uh you know everything stopped, so like a couple of his one of his backup dancers can propose to, I guess, one of the females who he was in a relationship with, I guess. It made this big thing out of it, and I get kind of annoyed because people tend to do that in like sporting events or in a restaurant, and it's like, I don't know. Part of my brain is like, I hope she says no. So, like, because you want to make a big spectacle, we have to stop our world for your little special moment. It's kind of like just crush that, just so this kind of thing stops happening. Because we don't need to be dragged into your little, rom com. Okay, like it's annoying to me. It's like, keep that stuff privately. Do it amongst your family and friends that, like, well, you had a cookout or something like that. I'm not sure, but it's just like complete strangers don't need to be privy to this. I personally do not care, and I find it cringy and annoying, personally.
like lewd behavior. It was chill. It was minimally political. And when I say minimal political, I mean it was more so if you know, you know, if you caught it. It wasn't bluntly in your face. And we're gonna get more into the political stuff later. But even with all that being said, all the highlights and the good things about the performance, I still can sit here and understand why some people did not like it. And one of the main reasons for this is because how can you sit here and like something you can't even understand? Not to go as far as they hated it, but how can I sit here and say, yeah, I really enjoyed that when I didn't even understand most of that what was going on? At the bare minimum, to me, they should have had subtitles, something, because the whole thing was in Spanish. And I understand Puerto Rico's a part of America. I understand Bad Bunny is a U.S. citizen. I get all of that, and we're gonna get into more of that later. But there still is something to be said for this huge of an American staple, a cultural event. Not
I don't know how many people do not know any Bad Bunny songs. He's just there. I'm not saying he's not talented. Nobody will, nobody can't say that. But nobody can name off the top of their head without looking through their phone 3 Bad Bunny songs. He seems like his music go one in one ear and out the other. As I generally don't know. Like, this dude was just lingering in the atmosphere. The only time I'm seeing more tuned in is when he was in that Happy Gilmore 2 movie. That was probably the only time when I just got keyed into like Bad Bunny, really. Outside of that, it's like I did not care about this guy.
being done in English. Like at the bare minimum, we need a set standard. We need something. We need a set standard, a moral guideline saying, hey, this is at least how we're going to operate in this country, and the rest can have nods to other influences. But like at the bare minimum, if this is an English-speaking country, there needs to be an English-speaking performance. That's just me. I'm not even...
And it's fair, because how often do people who can't hear have signers at these events to sign for them so they can be able to hear what's going on. So, in that same vein, you should automatically, especially if he's strictly is going to be strictly going to be the performance is going to be done strictly in Spanish, then because this country overwhelmingly speaks strictly English, and only a small portion is Duolingo, then I think it would be beneficial to just have a subtitle translator available, so that way people can, at the very least, can follow along. But from what I'm hearing, it's like most of Bad Bunny songs, if you, I guess you look it up, it's the lyrics is kind of it's a lot from what I'm hearing. I didn't, because like, I'm getting secondhand information about it. If I'm taking it face value, I don't know. We gotta make sure we pay attention to what especially the young kids are tuning into.
And so hung up on the fact that it has to be an American artist. No, English. Hello.
Can we stop pretending like everyone is a diehard Bad Bunny fan and Puerto Rico is the 51st state? The NFL's fan base is anywhere between 70 to 80% Caucasian. If you're the largest customer base of the NFL, it's not racist to want to understand what is going on during the halftime performance.
Thank
Almost
you.
no one watching in the stands or at home could understand a single word of what he was saying. So it is insulting to the American fan base, which is predominantly American and white, to put on a halftime performer that does not sing in English and that wouldn't even tour in the US for political reasons.
Would not even tour. He wouldn't tour across America for political reasons. He's sitting here doing the whole thing in Spanish. When it first announced that he was going to be the one doing the halftime show, he said, y'all have 4 months to learn Spanish. Come on, G. Like, I get it if the NFL wants to expand towards like a more global audience, but that would make sense. But even then, you're doing a bad job, and not even, at least at the bare minimum, including subtitles.
Here's the thing. It wasn't a bad performance. It just did not make sense. This would be like if Puerto Rico was hosting the FIFA World Cup and we had Jason Aldean headline. And everyone who's well, he's American because he's from Puerto Rico, I guarantee he identifies as Puerto Rican first, because Puerto Rico is a territory. It is not a state. They have their own flag. They have their own language that is different. For like the 5 genuine Bad Bunny fans that I know, happy for you, but let's not act like this wasn't annoying for everyone else.
Exactly. You're not a hateful human being. You're not wrong for being annoyed or irritated by this halftime performance that you could not even understand. And that doesn't make you a bad person. That doesn't make you racist. That doesn't make you hateful. It's just, this is an American staple event, largely American audience, largely English speaking audience being thrown Spanish speaking, Spanish influence halftime show. Like, it's one thing if we're traveling, people are acting like, oh my gosh, Americans are so privileged and so uncultured. If we want to travel, we'll travel. If I want to experience something not American, I'll go do that. If I want to hear.
Yeah, I mean, even when Shakira and J-Lo did halftime performances, either they done it in complete English or kind of Duolingo kind of stuff. There's plenty of Jennifer Lopez and Shakira songs that have, that's like generally in English, but with Spanish sprinkled within. So even if we don't, some of us who don't understand Spanish, we can just get the gist of it just by the way the Spanish word or phrase or intermingle with the English dialogue. So we can at least, get the gist of it. But they, I imagine a lot of their CDs and albums have a Spanish strictly speaking copy for those who just like the Spanish version, who can understand it. But this is like a widely English speaking country, just overwhelmingly. Not saying that there aren't white people or black people who can understand Spanish language, but English is the first language. And a perfect example that she mentions, like you don't have some kind of halftime show at the FIFA World Cup, but have some English performer that's only speaking strictly English to like a probably predominantly, let's go with Spanish speaking area. It's kind of like that'll be weird.
Not English, I'll go somewhere and do that. But it just felt very weird. It felt very weird and odd and out of place. Like Sabrina said in this video, it would be like if the FIFA World Cup was held down in Puerto Rico and they had Jason Aldean headline. What the hell is Jason Aldean doing there?
And so Bad Bunny tonight, when he ended his Super Bowl performance by listing the countries and saying, "Together we are America," he was correcting people from the US. He was making a statement saying that America includes people that we detain, dehumanize.
No. We're not going down that route. Is it right? Yes, I get it. South America, North America, it's the Americas. Everybody, it's more so like it's language gymnastics. That's what's being played right now. Technically, is everybody an American that's up in like North America, South America? Could you just say, yeah, I'm American? I guess. But that's not in the year 2026 how language and how we use the definition of what American is. Largely, America has been viewed as the country, and the states is like the different states within America. And then there's Canada, Mexico, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Puerto Rico, like all these different things, right? And I understand Puerto Rico's a part of America, but it's different. It's just different. Like the other video we watched, it's just different. And I don't think we can go down that route of saying we're all American, we're all family, we're all loving, we're all accepting. We're not one big ass country. We're not. If we were, you would stay your ass put down south. But no, you traveling through the jungles, up the dirt roads, through the desert, and jumping our border. For what reason and why? Because you love what? This country. So it's almost like you have to pick one. Like, what is America if we don't have a border? What is America if we don't have rules and laws? What is America if we don't have a shared language? What you're saying, we're all American, love this, unity this, it means nothing. It's performative and it's fake. It has good meaning behind it. It has good intentions. It does, but we can't operate off of empathy and intentions. We can't. We actually have to have discussions about what these words mean, what we're advocating for, what we're doing, and sometimes it doesn't make sense no matter how good it looks from the outside. Especially if you want to use that wording and that phrase, we're all American, to knock down like what ICE is doing and against illegal immigration. The people in support of ICE really do actually care and love this nation, want to protect and preserve what America is. I think one of the biggest things regarding ICE is that people are forgetting that it's illegal immigration we have a problem with, not legal. Now, there are some things about legal immigration that need to be addressed and adjusted. I get that. But as far as ICE is concerned, we're enforcing our border, and our border means nothing if we're not enforcing it. The entire reason a set land is a country is because of its borders. Like we recognize, hey, this land, this is American, and within these walls, within this border, this is how we operate things here. At the bare minimum, we need to get behind that and respect that, because again, all these illegals are coming here for a reason, because we respect law and order for the most part. So we can't go down this route of we're all American, nothing matters, accept everybody in. That's not as practical as you may think.
Yeah. And you got like Bad Bunny and Billie Eilish and all these people at these Grammys and clapping like seals. For the most part, most of them, I'm pretty sure there's a few people who agree with what ICE agents and what Trump's doing, but they ain't gonna voice it too much out loud. But I'm pretty sure there's a few people sprinkled within that area who agree with how things need to be taken care of, because we have a border for a reason. But then you get like a bunch of people like Bad Bunny who's just like, all about empathy. Feels like empathy. What about little abuela? It's like, okay, we need to enforce our laws, because what's the point of laws if we don't stand 10 toes down on them and allow people to break them willy-nilly? and you use the excuse of empathy to try to circumvent that. Yeah, sure, we all have empathy. We all can feel bad, but laws have to not let sympathy and emotions interfere too much. I want to say that it's completely negating it altogether, but you cannot let it muck things up. As a very, sometimes it is black and white like that. It's like, look, we got these borders. We gotta. This is like a particular country, just like every other country. You have this particular law that we can't just let just anybody in. If they cut through the lines of people who are trying to get in the legal way, then it just ruins the purpose of having that law. It makes the people who get in here the legal way feel like smucks, because why bother doing all this stuff if everybody's getting in illegal way, and just like, as long as they don't do anything else, they can just ride this out without notice, and nobody gives a crap. Because we already got these liberal woke people just to be our voice, and just have no. They operate just solely on empathy without understanding the nuance, and like, hey, can you respect the law? Okay, you may not like how it's being done, but it needs to be done. We ain't talking about the people who got there legally, but they just use just immigration. They just use just that word alone, and completely removing the illegal part out of that sentence, because that's what the vast majority of Americans are having an issue with: the illegal immigrants, not the legal ones. We by and large leaving like the legal immigrants alone. We don't care. Okay, they live their lives. They did their thing. So hey, like, whatever. But as the illegal ones, we have to like pretty much like, okay, that has to be dealt with, because they got too comfortable with it for so long. And the onus is mostly on us as the American people, because we let that ride so long, to the point where now it's like it's coming like unchecked. And humans are going to human. If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Is tale as old as time. And now they reached the precipice. Now it's like, once we now want to start to do something about it, now it's going to have a chunk of people saying like, why you care? Why you leave them? It's like, we care because we took our eyes off the ball for a little bit too long, and now it's like we gotta restructure some stuff. Now there's infighting because other people was too comfortable with it.
Talk specifically about the political references in this halftime show that really got me. So starting off, we're in the sugarcane fields of Puerto Rico, just diving right into the historical context of colonialism in the Caribbean, the history of slavery in the Caribbean, the exploitation of our land and our natural resources for the economic gain of the empire. Now we're in New York City, Nueva York. And then Benito just waltzes up to go take a shot with who? Doñita. Who's Doñita? This is a real Puerto Rican woman who lives in Brooklyn and owns something called the Caribbean Social Club, which is one of the last standing Puerto Rican establishments in Williamsburg, which has been a hugely gentrified neighborhood of New York City.
This is pretty cool. You want to throw nods at the sugarcane fields and history behind that? Cool. Promoting small businesses in New York? Cool. This is all nice and dandy.
Ricky Martin from Puerto Rico just sang a Bad Bunny song saying, I don't want to happen to us what happened to Hawaii. A blatant call for independence and sovereignty and decolonization of Puerto Rico. And then we go straight into this. Actually simulated the problems with our power grid in Puerto Rico, which is a direct consequence of us being a colony, and the privatization of our power grid by the USA. Then Bad Bunny emerges from the fields carrying the Puerto Rican flag, but not just any Puerto Rican flag. This is the light blue Puerto Rican flag, which is the original colors, and this is the flag that they banned, and then we were only allowed to get our flag back when they changed it from light blue to that navy royal blue to match the blue in the American flag. But by waving flying this flag. This is our original flag. Again, referencing our own sovereignty.
I mean that is pretty dope. I give Bad Bunny that nice, very nice reference to the original design of the flag. It's not too dissimilar to how like the U.S. flag went through quite a few changes over the years since its original invention.
First and foremost, huge fan, Mr. McAfee.
Seguimos aquí.
And ending it with seguimos aquí, which means we're still here.
I'm glad we had that little history lesson, and I sat through and I let that lady speak. You want to have these sort of political moments? You want to like have these nods of this and that, and you want to set out this big message? You can do that at your concerts, which would have been great if you just did it all throughout America and highlighted the wrongdoings, and you want to go down this route, sure. But you did all this within the 14 minutes you had on stage, on one of the world's biggest stages, honestly, for American viewers, who are largely just drinking with their friends and family, wanting to have a good time, watching the game, wanting to hear good music during the halftime show, and it's entire now like a political moment. Not liking this isn't being racist, isn't being hateful, it's just more like the time and the place. And it really makes me like go back to like past performances where it's just mainly music. You could have subtle nods to like American culture, I guess, but in large part it was just a good time. Like this was very much a boring history lesson. That's what it was, in my opinion. It was a boring history lesson. Again, there were some lit parts, like I can get down to some little bachata, you know, I can get down, you know, but I see it. It's not rocket science to me. Somebody did not like this, did not understand it, didn't get it. All in Spanish. You got this woman doing a 2.5 minute dialogue explaining every little political thing going on in this video. And we're sitting back, the regular everyday American sitting back like, what happened to just playing music? Just English speaking, good old bopping music. What happened to that? During the National Football League, National Football League halftime show. Not being super hateful, not being super divisive. It's just a matter of everybody's like kind of confused as why people didn't like it, as if it's not point blank period. And then at one point at the end of the show, this was on the screen, the only thing more powerful than hate is love. Again, this is where I feel like our empathy is clouding our judgment. I'm all for love. This is a great statement. It is. I'm all for promoting love over hate. I am. But in this case, if this is being used, and if people are viewing this as, yes, this is a nod against ICE and all the hateful stuff going on in America, we need more love, more love, more love, this world is not loving. It's not. The only thing more powerful than hate is love. Say that to the cartel running rampage over South America. Not ICE, who's enforcing our borders to make sure that shit ain't here. The only thing more powerful than hate is love. Say that to the people in your home country. You got all these flags around. Say that to the people there. But instead, a lot of people are taking this and trying to apply it to America. We need more love, more unity. We can't have that if we can't agree on basic law and order. It just won't happen. And it is not love to just accept anybody who wants to come in this country illegally. That's not love. Because what would love them is paying attention to why they are coming here in the first place. Why are they willing to risk their entire life coming to America?
See, I want to chime in just really quick. It just seems like the people who are all about like, oh, the only thing more powerful than hate is love. Yes, sentiment is all well and good, but it's kind of like you're trying to, it's like a separation in your brain and your heart, your logic and your emotions. And it needs some symbiosis here. Now, you know, you can't have just the whole logic part because then you run the risk of getting too cold. We can't just have all this heart or just emotion. Otherwise, you'll be left like a gullible idiot. You need, we need to be able to, like, logically, and not just fueled by emotions. We need to be able to be logically sound. It's like, yes, we understand we're like a country who is like, who has no problem, having people who wants to come to and be an American citizen. All well and good. Most people, overwhelmingly, wouldn't have no issue with that. But we have to have proper channels because we can't just accept anybody. They can put up front but be like, oh yeah, I'm totally American. Meanwhile, they're probably some nefarious person, or at the very least trying to escape some nefarious things from their original home country, who ain't gonna try to hear none of this. Nothing's more powerful only thing more powerful than hate is love. They're not trying to hear any of that stuff back in their home country, at least from the nefarious people that is back there, that you're running from to a country like America. So we have to have some level of standards, checks and balances, okay? Like, you're coming in, with your small children to become, a citizen. Okay, there's pretty much like a limbo area while you're going through the paperwork and all this other stuff before you're sworn in and legal and becoming like a legal American. It takes the time that it takes. So that is an example of, we're kind-hearted and you like, to bring you into becoming an American, but we have to make sure you're here for the right reasons and become a good contributor to the country. They don't want to hear any of that stuff because they throw in your face these buzzwords like, oh, you're Eastern, like you're racist and all this other stuff, and like, how dare you, or you don't have no empathy and blah blah blah. And it's like, no, we have empathy, but we're just not gullible idiots. Okay. Like, it's like, why is that? It's not like you can't wrap your head around that, because it's like, have no problem on paper, having people come in, but we just can't do it with everybody. We have to have some filter, and that's where these laws come into place. As we have the borders, so we can just monitor how things are coming in and out of this country, so it, our country don't, become like we already have our own problems, but we don't want to exacerbate it by bringing in people who's going to make things worse, who are part of like a gang or whatever, that is going to do horrible stuff to the citizens that's already here.
America, because they love what this country can provide to them, and this country will not be able to provide to them if it doesn't maintain a structure, if it doesn't maintain its border. Otherwise, you're fleeing for no reason. Everything that is corrupt, all the hate that's in the country that you're fleeing from, and you want to wave this flag from, is going to come right here. I'm all for America being a melting pot. I'm all for America coming together, lots of different things and cultures and identities, and melting into one. But keyword melting what? Pot. What the fuck? What's the pot? Is the pot a nation with no borders? No, it can't be that. Should the pot be a shared language at the bare minimum so we can understand all the different things we're bringing in from around the world? Maybe. But we keep calling ourselves a melting pot. What's the pot? What are we melting into? Is it this country? And again, if it's this country that we're melting into, and that's the pot holding it all together, if there's no border, there's no pot. Like, there's nothing holding everything together. Is that right? Am I stupid? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love how you put it that way. It is often needs to be said whenever someone try to throw in like, this country is a melting pot, and it's like, and then leave it at that. Yeah, but a pot isn't just like a ethereal thing. It's like a structure. It keeps things together, so that means it has to have some kind of border to keep things together. Otherwise, everything's gonna be all over the place. Can you like imagine this is like a pot. It's nothing inside right now, so it's nothing inside. But imagine it had water in there. Like, there's a little bit of water in here. Imagine, well, I'll just use this. Like, imagine all this is America. It's a melting pot. And you see all the contents inside is like, like black, white, Hispanic, even people from Puerto Rico, Hawaii, is like, all these different ethnic cultures that came from other various parts of the world that became a citizen or already was a citizen. And all up in here, we live in a very harmonious little ecosystem here. But if, imagine it's like this, bottle just completely disappears, like this Thanos snaps away. All everything here, it's gone. It's all over the table. Then what's the point of this whole melting thing if it's nothing's holding it together? Border. It's like, can't get in. You have to, this is like a good example of like a the paperwork and all this other stuff, the process, the procedures in order to let more in. They have to funnel through this tube, and it has to come in a little bit at a time, because if you it's like pouring like a shot glass, or using like a baster or something like that to squeeze a little bit through at a time. But if you take some kind of water hose and try to spray a bunch of water down there, it's all over the freaking place. It's like a rough analogy, but you catch my drift. You just can't but this is empathy. It's empathy. It's like empathy. It's, that's more powerful. Only thing more powerful than hate is love. Love. It's like, it's like, and you got the base there. It's like, oh, that's hateful. It's like, you got something against garden hoses. It's like, we need a filter system here. Because you can't just go hog wild with just letting everybody in, because, what's the point of the law? It's the same thing with like traffic laws. If you're allowed to just speed willy-nilly, what's the point of us having things like driver's ed and driving laws if you're not gonna stand firm on making sure they're adhered to? People are just gonna drive recklessly all the live long day because nobody's enforcing it.
There's nothing there holding America together. There's no melting pot. If there's no borders, if there's no law and order, everybody can do whatever the hell they want to do. Again, I feel like if anything, America's more of a mosaic. There's a bunch of little ass communities dealing with each other. Little community here, community here. Oh, well, this is my community, this is my flag, this is our language, this is our food. Instead of melting together and loving this nation as one. So if we actually love this nation as one, we could come together at the bare minimum of a shared language and shared law and order. That's just where I'm at.
Yeah, and that will be deemed as quote unquote racist, because you got Puerto Rico, you got like Nicaraguan, and you got like Ethiopian people here, and various different cultures that have their own native tongue. But if you're moving into this country, living in this country, the primary language is English, similar to the UK. But if I move to someplace like Japan, which primarily has Japanese people, not to say there isn't other cultures also living there, but it'll be the onus will be on me to probably learn the main language that is spoken there. Similar to, it was like if you choose to live like in Russia, or you choose to live in like China, the primary language is Russian and Chinese, and I think it'll do you well to learn that primary language in order to be able to get around. I mean, sure, we got like phones and apps and stuff like that to help translate, sure, but in order to we can't translate common phrases and dialogues, or jokes, or euphemisms, properly. A lot of things will get misconstrued. So you got to be able to speak it. I mean, there's plenty of people who know English, but it's kind of a little choppy. But I think a lot of Americans don't really care. Like, as long as we pretty much get the gist of what they're trying to say, despite the chopped up way the sentence is structured, but we get it because you at least still speaking it. So it's just like I wouldn't be considered racist if I moved to Japan and or at least they wouldn't be considered racist if I moved to Japan and they there's expectation of me, like, knowing the language. Okay, I don't want to call them out as being racist about it, because it's like my language will be foreign to them. It's their country. It'll be the onus on me to learn their language, not me enforcing my language onto them or calling them racist because they didn't they're not adhering to my standard, even though, like, I'm not the primary nationality there.
But anyone who's like trying to say in my comments, oh, well, he's from Puerto Rico, it's U.S. territory. I know he's from Puerto Rico. This has nothing to do with where he's from. I understand it's a U.S. territory. But the fact is, all those flags should not be waved at the Super Bowl. This is not the Olympics. You're not having other countries there represented.
That's a good point. It was a lot of flags, and it kind of did feel like the Olympics. And you just, like, when you look back at it, it did kind of feel like the Olympics. Even though the Winter Olympics is kind of going on right now. So it's kind of funny.
At the game.
Yeah.
It's literally an American sport. You literally have American athletes playing one of the biggest football games in the world. Okay? So don't be saying, oh, well, you just don't like Puerto Rico. Never.
It was one of those moments where it's like, because Chicago Bears was doing really good this year, like exceptionally, except for like maybe like the last game, definitely. But moments like this, because the game, nobody's really talking about the game in and of itself. The game was kind of like a blowout. It wasn't very enjoyable from what I'm hearing. And I kind of feel like, yeah, I think it's one of those kind of Super Bowls. I'm kind of glad that the Bears didn't get to be participating in because of this whole Bad Bunny thing. Poor Seahawks and Patriots, because they're getting overshadowed, especially, given the fact that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. Is all getting overshadowed because of the whole Bad Bunny thing and all the controversy behind that. And it's like, ugh, God, I'm just glad the Bears didn't have to be, or any of the other teams, matter of fact, have to deal with this. Because, like, wow. Because hopefully next year we can avoid this mess altogether.
Once said that. Never once said that. It's the fact that Bad Bunny does not like America. He's very anti-American. He has said it more than 100 plus times. He told everyone that the show was literally going to be in Spanish, and it was. And I will be honest with you, it was a good performance, but the fact is he does not care about this country. You can't be in a country and not be for legal immigration.
Hello.
Plain and simple. You can't be this millionaire, have your security protecting you, keeping you safe, and not think it's okay that ICE is keeping Americans safe and keeping criminals off our streets. Would have done the performance in English, I would probably have a way better review of the show. But the fact is, it was not in English. It was in Spanish. No one knew what you were.
Yeah, and the crazy part too is that a lot of the football players couldn't even name a Bad Bunny song. Didn't know what was going on, what was gonna be performing. None of it. Like, again, if they had subtitles, I feel like a lot of people feel a different way. If there was at least subtitles, but it wasn't. It was just a culture shock, which is fine in some areas. But again, if I want to travel, if I'm watching the American halftime show, National Football League halftime show, the Super Bowl show, and all of a sudden I'm just down in South America now, but what the hell? It's not racist. Has nothing to do with him. We get he's from Puerto Rico. We get it's an American territory. It's just the fact that was the most least American thing we have ever seen.
As a music lover, it shouldn't matter whether he's speaking your language or not. The music is good. But if you feel like this is a political agenda, be mad at the NFL and not Bad Bunny. I don't know about for you, but for me, lyrics make up a huge portion of my love for the music. If the lyrics didn't matter, then we would just be bumping instrumentals every single day.
Yeah.
So to me, it does matter what he's saying because the lyrics make the song hit 10 times harder. I'm not saying that it's bad music just because it's Spanish. I'm sure he has a lot of bangers.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the NFL, which is largely supported by English-speaking people, it's not even extremely popular overseas. This is the only platform or stage where this type of sport exists and is largely supported by English-speaking people.
Yes. It's not even so much that I don't like it because it's in Spanish. I don't like it because we don't understand it. And I also don't want to turn into a nation where we prioritize other languages. At the bare minimum, I think, again, there needs to be some set standards on when and where English is spoken. And I feel like something like the National Football League, mandatory English. Our street signs and stuff, mandatory English. Like airports, mandatory English. I don't want to live in a multi-language country. Sorry, I want to understand the people that I'm living next to and I want to talk to. And I want to have to learn like 5 billion different languages for that.
Yeah, like, and go to Mexico and try to enforce other languages not Spanish. See how that works. Like, oh, I can't understand this sign or this what the items inside the store say. I can't understand it. It's like, why don't we enforce English everywhere, or why don't we enforce Japanese everywhere in this primarily Spanish speaking country, to suit my individual needs, or the minor people individual, like the minorities needs, over the majority Spanish speaking people who live in this particular spot in the world. That will be dumb. But because like we're such a like feeling kind of country, we can't just stop and like think, okay, why not every sign in this country is not every sign is written in Braille in this country, because not that many people who are blind. It's not that many. So we have to focus on the majority. And so the majority of the people in this country is English speaking. Sure, you can learn other language, but what is the first language here? Just like if you're in Japan or Russia or Mexico, what is the primary language compared to the minority language? Sure, plenty of people living in Japan that's not Japanese, but they had to learn the first language that is culturally firstly understood. Okay? Your language of origin is going to be the first language to you. But depending on the country, it's probably going to have to be the secondary one, and you're going to have to focus on learning the primary one in order to get by. Super Bowl so could not hurt to at least have some subtitles so people who don't know Spanish like that or at all could still follow along. I'm not saying you couldn't sing it in Spanish, but you're going to have subtitles so that way we can actually get involved. Another good example, K-pop Demon Hunters. Korean characters, K-pop singers, a lot of their songs have Korean words and languages mixed in with the primary English speaking dialogue. You could have done that, but because I still jam out to Soda Pop, even though a few of those words have Korean languages in it, but I primarily can still get the gist and still follow along and have a good time. Sure, I can actually look it up and learn what word he was using, but I can still say it's a bop. I can still enjoy it. You could have done that. That's why I wanted the Huntrix or the Saja Boys doing the halftime show personally. That way you can avoid this whole situation entirely. Because, Bad Bunny, like, sure, he's like top charted and all that other stuff. But let's be real. Huntrix had dominated all 2025 getting into 2026. They just did. And unfortunately, hands were shaking, gears, like greases was wheeled or some forth to get Bad Bunny involved because, it's culturally relevant and making some kind of statement without making an overall statement. And it's like, you could have avoided all this mess by just getting some actual. If you wanted to have somebody of a different ethnicity doing like a halftime show, you could have gotten the Huntrix people, the three girls, or the Saja Boys, in my personal opinion. To get them to do the halftime show, it'll have been relevant because they are a hot ticket, through like 2025 into 2026. Matter of fact, one of the actresses was at the Grammys and won an award for the music from K-pop Demon Hunters. You should have gotten them. In my personal opinion, you should have gotten them to do the halftime show, avoided all this controversy, and we all can have a good time because we all love the K-pop Demon Hunters movie. It was a, culturally phenomenal film and also phenomenal music that everybody got along with. Even though a few of those songs were in Korean, not many people speak Korean, but we still follow along because most of it was in English, and it's just like it's such a banger. We can actually follow along and still jam to it. It's a fun time. Okay, it'll be no questions, no issues.
Doesn't make me a bad person, doesn't make me a racist person. I just really enjoy being able to have a conversation with anyone in this nation. Like, I can travel to Maine. Hey, what's up? We can chat. I can travel to Seattle, California. Like, I love being able to experience the different states and different vibes and different cultures, but still at the bare minimum communicate. That's what I really enjoy. And the route that this is going is just weird to me. Like, it's not, that's really all it is. A lot of people want to hear the lyrics of what's being talked about, what's going on. A lot of people want to understand the things that he's saying. And a lot of people, I've seen the argument of like, well, we have had a lot of other halftime performers that weren't from America. America's not the point. It's the language. We don't even know what's happening. Like, for the non-American halftime performers, we got The Weeknd, Shakira, Coldplay, Rolling Stones, Paul McCartney, Shania Twain, U2. The thing with that, at least we can understand them. At least we can understand them. At least the entire thing, majority of what was going on, we understand it. There are so many people that they didn't understand a drop of nothing that came out the halftime show, but the 3 seconds Lady Gaga sung, which was so random. Besides that, anybody know?
I might be a hater. I bored. And it wasn't like boring. It just was like definitely better than the Grammys for sure. Like, yeah. I found like something in that, but it was just like, I really need to stop doing this. And I don't know, I think I have a problem, but like every time I think about like really dope performances, I think about like Lady Gaga, Beyonce. Like,
yes.
I think of like really great.
Beyonce turned her halftime show into just a glorified Black Panther party, but even still, great performance. And you can follow along and know the songs.
Performers and people who have brought something, even Usher in like.
Yes. When I think about halftime performance or just a performance in general, I'm thinking about something grand, something huge, exciting, invigorating for the people there in the stadium and watching. They're hearing songs that they know, they're somewhat familiar with, turning it into a party. A grand, great party. And that was not that. Not to say
that was like how the last Super Bowl thing, halftime show was with like Dr. Dre and Mary J. Blige, Eminem, 50 Cent, etc. It was like just a grand old time. There was no political message. You know, that year we was going through some stuff. I think I'm pretty sure this when like it was still in the midst of the whole Ukraine and Russia situation. I'm pretty sure we've been going through a lot of crap in this planet, but for this moment during the football, American football halftime show, we're gonna just cut all that off and just focus on entertainment. That's what sporting events, halftime shows, and even back in the day, award shows used to be that. Just, moment to just tune out the troubles of the world for a few hours. So we can, because your brain needs to be able to recalibrate. If you get bombarded with just such negative life, the negativity that is life, our system needs to be rebooted every once in a while. And that's where entertainment comes into play. That's where we can laugh or get our feelings out and just enjoy a decent action movie or rom-com or comedy, or watching a sporting event, just watching people run down the 50-yard line, catching interceptions, just getting involved, or listen to your favorite musical artist just to dance to the rhythm too, listen to Gwen Stefani or something like that. It's like if she was doing a halftime show, we were, dancing to, like the Hollaback Girl. It's like, we don't care about all the woes of the world for a few minutes while we dancing like that's my ooh, it's my like, like when you listen to a song, doesn't your brain just kind of relax a minute? Right? We listen like the Black Eyed Peas. Don't you just, you're in like a mode of relaxation for a few minutes? You in like, a moment of zen. Because your body's just like, in a state of just euphoria. But it's like, yeah, people who understand Spanish might have got a kick out of the halftime show maybe, but it's like, by and large, it's just like, it was a whole nothing burger.
I absolutely hated it and it was the worst thing ever. No. Like I said, there was some great nods, great cultural things behind it. It was very cool. But I see why people
I'm
don't.
pretty sure everybody can, rattle off a list of highly more entertaining artists they could have done the halftime show that wasn't Bad Bunny. It wouldn't have been a whole issue. Most of which probably be like of a different race other than maybe white. And I'm pretty sure there's like quite a few white artists out there that will give you a good entertainment show without an issue of any kind of subtle hints to ice or whatever. It's just like an enjoyment of a show, and that'll been that. In and out. It's like, could have gotten the Huntrix or Soulja Boys. Could have gotten Shakira or J-Lo. Beyonce. You could have gotten even heck Jay-Z, even though Jay-Z's kind of in hot water with the whole Epstein thing, but you could have gotten I don't know. There's like a plethora of people, like 50 Cent. You could have gotten 50 Cent involved. If you wanted somebody of color to do a halftime show, it's plenty of those who you can get a kick out of, follow along, and like you can avoid like controversy. Usher, you could have gotten Usher, great performer, probably even better than Bad Bunny. Definitely better than Bad Bunny. Let's be real. But you can follow along, you understand, and it's like like all those artists that I named, you could easily name out all their songs just by muscle memory. You can kind of like Bad Girl, You Got It Bad, You Don't Have to Call, Good, yeah, Same Girl. It's like, like boom, 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 boom. It's like very easy. Bad Bunny
don't like it. A lot of people
like
don't
that.
want that to happen again. And then I also see how it was viewed as boring. Like he's strolling through fields. There was some cute, like again, getting down in front of the bodega and the wedding scene, and there were some fun.
Could have just gotten Shakira or J-Lo. I understand it's like, they're not Puerto Rican. Oh, wait a minute. Don't want to seem like an idiot. Hold on. All right, Shakira is Lebanese and Spanish, and born in Colombia. White Hispanic, her parents being of Puerto Rico descent. Yeah, if you want to go all in on Puerto Rico and Puerto Rico representation, you could have had like just bring in J-Lo again, because she is Puerto Rican descent. I was like, wait a minute, isn't like J-Lo Puerto Rican? I had to double check just to be 100% sure. I didn't want to sound like a complete idiot. But yeah, you could have just gotten her again. Could have avoided all this mess. She wasn't at the Grammy. She ain't like trying to talk about anything about ICE or anything like that. She's trying to stay away from political issues and stuff like that. You don't even know her political leanings like that. You can just had her and avoided all this mess.
moments, but it wasn't like everybody off their seats turned and just vibing, having a good time. None of that was there. Guess where it was though? Them Puerto Rican ass neighborhoods. Guess where it was though? South America. All the viewing parties for the halftime show, they were lit. We look at the Americans, at the American National Football League. We weren't lit, and it's our show. I don't even like football like that, but I can view why some people were salty. It was more for the viewers at home and people outside America than it was for the people inside America, which is crazy because again, Bad Bunny's American, Puerto Rico's a part of America, but we get the vibe. It was just completely different, and to a lot of people, boring. But as always, let me know your thoughts and comments below. I appreciate so much your time watching.
Yeah, I 100% agree. It's, like I said, it's a plethora. There's a plethora of choices they could have done. And it's not really that much or any shade to Bad Bunny himself. I'm pretty sure he's a really good artist. It's like he's hit the top charts for a reason, so he obviously got skill. But they obviously chose him for like the climate that's going on right now, and there's obviously like, you know, pieces being moved that could have just been avoided altogether. If you want to like a Puerto Rican and celebrate Puerto Rican culture so bad, you could have like chose J-Lo or some other Puerto Rican artists to do the exact same thing without the, you know, issue of communicating or understanding what's being said. And you know more J-Lo songs than Bad Bunny any day of the week. I mean, everybody loves J-Lo. You know, you know, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who don't even either know a J-Lo song or don't like J-Lo like that at all. You'd be hard to find that. J-Lo is, you know, very much beloved. Anyway, I'm curious to know what you guys think, and I will see you guys in a little bit. I got another reaction video. That might take a bit of time, but I'm curious to see what's going on with that. But like the video, share this with your friends, and I will see you all soon. Peace.